The next morning, if morning had any meaning in space, Tae-young stood in the observation deck of the Relentless watching the repair crews work on his ship. The Bright Star had been towed closer to the warship, and teams of human engineers were helping Hana restore its systems. They worked efficiently, passing tools and components back and forth like a well-trained unit. Captain Sungmin joined him at the window. Both men stood in silence for a moment, just watching the stars. "Your ship should be ready to fly in about 12 hours, Sungmin said. "We're replacing the systems the pirates damaged. Better components than what you had before, actually. Consider it a gift from Earth. You've already given us our lives," Tae-young said quietly. "I don't know how we can ever repay that. You can't, and you don't need to." "That's the point." Sungmin turned to face him. "Can I ask you something? After everything that's happened, will you keep trading out here?" "This is still dangerous space," Tae-young thought about it. "I don't know. Maybe. Someone has to carry goods between the systems. Trade keeps civilization alive. But I'll be more careful. And I'll make sure my crew knows that if we ever get in trouble again, help will come." "That changes everything." "It should change everything," Sungmin agreed. "Fear makes people do terrible things. If people know they're not alone, if they know someone will come when they call, they make better choices. They take fewer desperate risks. That's why we do this. Not just to rescue people, but to create a galaxy where rescue is possible." Velkrath entered the observation deck looking uncomfortable. He had asked to speak with both captains. Now he stood before them, his scales shifting color slightly in what Tae-young recognized as a sign of deep emotion. "Captain Sungmin, I owe you and your crew an apology. Before you arrived, I said terrible things about humans. I called your people reckless and emotional. I said you did not think, only acted. I was wrong about everything." Sungmin smiled kindly. "You were scared. You were facing death or slavery. In that situation, hope seems foolish. I understand." "But that is exactly the point," Velkrath insisted. "Hope should not seem foolish. The fact that I thought it was foolish says something about my people, not yours. We have become cynical. We accept cruelty as inevitable. We calculate odds and risks and decide that some people are not worth saving. Your people refuse to accept that. You risked your lives, risked your ship to save 15 strangers. That is not reckless. That is noble." He paused, gathering his thoughts. "When I return home, I will speak to my government. I will tell them what I saw here. I will advocate for increased patrols in neutral space. Perhaps we can work with humanity. Learn from you. Because what I saw yesterday was not just military skill. It was moral courage, and that is something the galaxy needs more of." After Velkrath left, Tae-young asked the question that had been bothering him. "Captain, when Jiwoo sent that beacon, you were 3 days away at normal speed. You got here in 2. That means you pushed your engines past safe limits. You could have damaged your ship permanently. You could have killed your entire crew if something went wrong. Why take that risk for strangers?" Sungmin was quiet for a long moment. When he finally spoke, his voice was soft but firm. "Do you know what happened to Earth during the war? The real reason we're so committed to this?" Tae-young shook his head. 50 years ago, Earth was invaded by the Korthan Empire. They hit us hard and fast. Millions died in the first day. Our military fought back, but we were losing. We sent out distress calls to every ally we had, every species we had treaties with. We begged for help. He looked out at the stars, his eyes distant. No one came. They all had reasons. It was too far. It was too dangerous. They couldn't risk their ships for one planet. The odds were too bad. Every reason made sense logically, but it meant we were alone when we needed help most. "But you survived," Tae-young said. "Barely. We fought for 3 years. Lost 2 billion people. Entire cities were destroyed. But we won eventually. And when it was over, when we counted our dead and rebuilt our civilization, we made a promise. We swore that no human would ever be abandoned like that again. No human would ever call for help and hear only silence. That's why ships like the Relentless exist. That's why we came for you. Even though the odds were bad and the distance was far. Because we remember what it feels like to be alone and afraid and waiting for rescue that never comes." Tae-young felt tears in his eyes. "I had no idea. Most people don't. We don't talk about it much. But it shapes everything we do. Every decision, every policy, every mission. We remember." In the medical bay, Jiwoo was having a similar conversation with Commander Daeho. He had asked her again about returning to active duty. This time she was considering it more seriously. I left because I was tired, she admitted. Tired of war, tired of fighting, tired of always being ready for the next battle. I wanted peace, and did you find it? Daiho asked for a while. But these last few days showed me something. Peace isn't just the absence of fighting. Real peace requires people willing to stand up to evil. The pirates took us because they thought no one would stop them. They were wrong. You stopped them. And that makes the galaxy a safer place. So you'll consider it? I'll consider it. Let me think about it for a few days. Down in engineering, Hana was learning everything she could from Chief Dong-hyun. The human engineer was patient, explaining systems and showing her techniques she had never seen before. Your ship uses some old technology, he said as they worked on replacing the Bright Star's power converter. Nothing wrong with it, just outdated. I'm installing something more modern. It will give you better efficiency and more backup power in emergencies. Why are you being so generous? Hana asked. You don't know us. We're just merchants. Dong-hyun paused in his work and looked at her. My daughter is about your age. She works on a trading ship near the Orion cluster. Every time she leaves port, I worry. I wonder if she'll run into pirates or raiders or some other danger. But I know that if she does, if she sends out a distress call, someone will come. Ships like this one will drop everything and race to help her. That thought lets me sleep at night. So when I help you, I'm not just helping a stranger. I'm helping someone else's daughter. Maybe someone somewhere is helping mine the same way. Hana found herself crying. These people, these humans, they saw connections where others saw only strangers. They saw family where others saw statistics. 2 days later, the Bright Star was ready to fly again. The crew gathered in the main docking bay to say goodbye to their rescuers. There were hugs and handshakes and promises to stay in contact. Captain Sungmin presented Tae-young with a new communication device. This has a direct link to Earth's Deep Space Patrol network. If you ever get in trouble again, use this. Someone will come. I hope I never need to use it, Tae-young said, but I'm grateful to have it. Mora approached Lieutenant Min Seo and handed her a data chip. These are navigation charts for safe routes through this region, updated with current pirate activity. Perhaps it will help your patrols. Min Seo accepted it gratefully. This is valuable information. Thank you. Velkrath shook hands with Commander Daeho. The gesture was awkward since Velkrath had 4 hands and had to decide which one to use, but the meaning was clear. You have changed how I see humanity. I will make sure others know the truth about your people. We're not perfect, Daeho said. We make mistakes. We fail sometimes. But we try. That's all anyone can do. As the crew of the Bright Star prepared to board their ship, Ji-woo pulled Captain Sung-min aside. I've made my decision about returning to active duty. If you'll have me, I'd like to join the crew of the Relentless. Sung-min smiled broadly. We'd be honored to have you, Lieutenant. Report to Commander Daeho. He'll get you assigned. Ji-woo looked back at her old crew, her friends. Tae-young nodded, understanding. Hana gave her a tight hug. Even Velkrath dipped his head in respect. You belong here, Tae-young told her. You always did. Go save some more people. The Bright Star departed first, its engines humming smoothly with their new components. The crew waved from the bridge windows. The ship turned toward home, toward safety, toward the rest of their lives. On the bridge of the Relentless, the crew settled back into their normal routine. But it was different now. They had one more member, one more person who understood what they were doing and why it mattered. Sung-min sat in his captain's chair, reviewing reports. Everything was back to normal. Almost. Suddenly, Sensor Officer Hyun looked up from his station. Captain, I'm picking up a distress signal. Civilian transport under attack by raiders. Location, Theta Sector, approximately 4 days away at normal speed. The bridge crew turned to look at their captain. They knew what he would say. They had heard it dozens of times before, but they never got tired of hearing it. Sung-min stood up, his voice calm and certain. Set course. Maximum speed. All stations prepare for rescue operations. As the Relentless turned toward the new emergency, jumping to faster-than-light speed, Ji-woo stood at her new station and smiled. This was where she belonged. This was what she was meant to do. Somewhere in the darkness of space, people were in trouble. They were scared and alone and probably convinced that no help would come. They were wrong. Help was coming. It was coming fast, and it would not stop until they were safe. The third day began with more fear and less hope. The Rakthian pirates seemed nervous about something. They moved faster through the corridors. Their voices were tense. The guards at the cargo bay door kept checking their weapons and looking at their communication devices. Something had changed, but the prisoners did not know what. Tae-young noticed it first. They're worried about something. Look at how they keep checking the sensors. Jiwoo had noticed too. Her military instincts told her that these pirates were preparing for a fight. But with who? There were no military ships in this region. The Rakthians controlled this entire sector of space. What could possibly make them nervous? Then the alarm started. Red lights flashed throughout the ship. A loud siren wailed from every speaker. The two guards at the door received a message on their communication devices and immediately ran out, leaving the prisoners alone for the first time in 3 days. What's happening? Mora asked, her insectoid voice full of fear. I don't know, Tae-young said, but this might be our chance. Jiwoo, Hana, you still have your chains off? Both women nodded. They had kept their hands positioned to look like they were still bound, but the chains were actually loose. Hana quickly went to work freeing the others. Her fingers moved fast, picking each lock with the wire she had saved. Within minutes, all the crew members were free from their chains, but they still had no weapons and no plan. The cargo bay door was locked from the outside. They were trapped, then they heard it. A voice over the ship's communication system. It was speaking in the common galactic language, but there was something about the accent that made Jiwoo's heart jump. Rakthian vessel, this is the Humes Relentless. You are currently in possession of human citizens taken by force. You will power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. If you resist, you will be destroyed. This is your only warning. Hums. Humanity United Military Ship. That's impossible, Velkrath whispered. Human warships don't operate in this region. The Great Accord forbids it. But Jiwoo was smiling for the first time in 3 days. The Accord forbids military expansion. It says nothing about rescue operations. My beacon worked. Someone heard it. Someone came. The response from the Rakthian commander came immediately, full of arrogance and anger. Human vessel, you are one ship against our entire battle cruiser. We have you outgunned and outmanned. You will withdraw immediately or we will add your crew to our slave stock. There was a long pause. Then the human voice came back, and this time it was cold as ice. You were warned. The pirate ship shook violently. The prisoners in the cargo bay were thrown to the floor. Explosions echoed through the hull. The lights flickered and died, replaced by emergency lighting. More explosions followed, each one precise and controlled. Hana listened carefully. As an engineer, she understood ships. They're not trying to destroy us. They're targeting specific systems. Weapons first. Now the engines. They're disabling the ship without killing anyone inside. How is one ship doing this? Velkrath asked in disbelief. We should be fighting back. But the Rakthian ship was not fighting back. It could not. Every weapon system was destroyed within the first 30 seconds. The human warship moved too fast, shot too accurately. The pirates never had a chance to return fire. Within 2 minutes, the pirate cruiser was completely disabled, floating dead in space just like the Bright Star had been 3 days ago. The prisoners heard shouting in the corridors. Rakthian voices screaming orders. The sound of boots running. Then a new sound, something they did not recognize. A deep thumping noise getting louder. Boarding pods, Jiwoo said with certainty. They're coming for us. Explosions rocked the ship as the human military punched through the hull in multiple locations. The prisoners could hear weapon fire, screams, and the heavy footsteps of soldiers in armor. The cargo bay door suddenly exploded inward in a shower of sparks and metal. The prisoners scrambled back, shielding their eyes from the bright light that poured in. Through the smoke and debris, figures emerged. They were human soldiers in black-powered armor. The armor made them look massive, almost as big as the Rakthians. Each soldier carried weapons that looked extremely advanced. Their helmets had dark visors that showed no faces, only reflected light. They moved with frightening efficiency, covering every angle, every corner. One soldier stepped forward and his helmet retracted, folding back to reveal his face. He was a human man in his 40s with short gray hair and hard eyes that had seen too much combat. His armor had marks of rank that Jiwoo recognized immediately. I am Commander Daeho of the Hums Relentless. Which one of you is Captain Tae-young? Tae-young raised his hand, still trying to process what was happening. I am, but how did you... Time for explanations later, Captain. Right now, we need to get you and your crew to safety. Can everyone walk?
Yes, we're all mobile.
But one of our crew is dead. The pirates killed him. Daeho's expression hardened. Where is the body? In the corridor outside, the commander spoke into his communication device. Recovery team to cargo bay. We have a fallen civilian. Prepare for transport. He turned back to Tae-young. No one gets left behind, not even the dead. 2 more soldiers entered, moving quickly to the crew. One was a medic who began checking everyone for injuries. The other was a young woman who immediately went to Jiwoo. Lieutenant Jiwoo, I'm Lieutenant Min Seo. I have your service record here. Earth Defense Force, retired 3 years ago. Honorable discharge, Jiwoo nodded, confused. Yes, that's me. But why? The beacon you sent was using old military encryption. When we picked up the signal, we knew it came from someone with training. Smart thinking using that particular frequency. It's monitored by deep space patrol ships like ours. How far away were you when you received it? Mincio smiled. 3 days at normal speed. We did it in 2. Pushed the engines past safe limits. The captain said we didn't have time to go slow. 3 days compressed into 2. They had pushed their ship to the breaking point just to arrive faster. Just to save a small merchant crew that most governments would consider an acceptable loss. Belkrath stared at the human soldiers in amazement. You came all this way for a civilian merchant ship? For 15 people you do not even know? Commander Daeho looked at him with an expression that was hard to read. We're human. That's what we do. We don't leave our people behind. Ever. The recovery began immediately. The soldiers escorted the crew through the damaged corridors of the pirate ship. Bodies of Rakthian pirates lay everywhere, most unconscious from stun weapons, some dead from fighting back. The human soldiers had moved through the ship like a storm, overwhelming the pirates with speed and precision. They passed by the bridge where the Rakthian commander sat in chains, his face showing shock and defeat. He had thought one human ship would be easy prey. He had been very wrong. Outside, through the broken hull, the prisoners got their first look at the Hume's Relentless. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The ship was massive, at least twice the size of the pirate cruiser. Its hull was dark gray, almost black, with Earth's flag painted on the side. Weapons bristled from every surface. It looked like something built for one purpose: war. Small shuttles ferried them from the pirate ship to the Relentless. As Tae-young stepped aboard the human warship, he was greeted by another officer. This one was older, with silver hair and eyes that seemed kind despite his stern military bearing. Captain Tae-young, I'm Captain Sungmin, commanding officer of the Relentless. Welcome aboard. My crew will take care of your people. Medical bay is this way. You'll all be checked out and given proper food and rest. Captain, I don't know how to thank you. We thought we were dead. We thought no one was coming. Sungmin placed a hand on Tae-young's shoulder. Someone is always coming. As long as there are humans in danger, there will be humans coming to help. That's not just a policy, it's who we are. As they walked through the corridors of the warship, Velkrath kept looking around in wonder. Everything was clean, organized, efficient. The human crew moved with purpose and discipline. This was a real military vessel, maintained by professionals who took their duties seriously. In the medical bay, doctors and nurses treated the minor injuries the prisoners had sustained. They were gentle and kind, talking softly and making sure everyone was comfortable. Food was brought, real food, hot and fresh. After 3 days of near starvation, it tasted like the best meal any of them had ever eaten. Jiwoo sat on a medical bed eating slowly when Commander Daeho approached her. That beacon you activated, it saved all of you. Quick thinking under pressure. Ever consider returning to active duty? She shook her head. I did my time. I wanted a quieter life. How's that working out for you? He asked with a slight smile. Despite everything, Jiwoo laughed. Not great, apparently. Across the room, Hana was talking excitedly with one of the human engineers about the Relentless's engine systems. Even after everything she had been through, her love of ships and technology shone through. Mora approached Sungmin hesitantly. Captain, I must ask, why does humanity maintain military ships in deep space? The war ended decades ago. Most species reduced their fleets. Sungmin looked at the insectoid navigator thoughtfully. Most species accept that some regions of space are too dangerous to patrol. The trade ship Bright Star moved quietly through the Verdun sector. It was a peaceful region of space where different alien races came to trade goods. Captain Tae-young sat in his chair on the bridge, watching the stars pass by on the main screen. He had made this journey dozens of times before. Nothing ever happened here. "Captain, we're 3 hours from the trading station," said Mora, the ship's navigator. She was an insectoid alien with large compound eyes and 4 arms. Her voice came out in clicks and chirps that the ship's computer translated into words everyone could understand. Tae-young nodded. "Good. Let's hope the prices are better this time." Behind him stood Lieutenant Ji-woo, the ship's security officer. She was a tall human woman with short black hair and sharp eyes that never stopped watching. She had served in Earth's military before joining the merchant fleet. Old habits died hard. Her hand rested near her sidearm as she scanned the sensor readings. "Something bothering you, Ji-woo?" Tae-young asked without turning around. "Just a feeling," she said. "Too quiet out here." Velkrath, the ship's first officer, made a hissing sound that might have been laughter. He was a tall reptilian alien with green scales and yellow eyes. "Humans and their feelings. The sensors show nothing. We are perfectly safe." Down in the engine room, Hana wiped sweat from her forehead. She was the youngest member of the crew, barely 25 years old. The engines hummed smoothly under her care. She loved this ship. Every pipe, every wire, every system was like a child to her. She checked the readings one more time before heading to the bridge. The Bright Star carried a crew of 15. 5 humans and 10 aliens from various species. They had been working together for 2 years. Most of the time, everyone got along well enough. But there was always tension. Many aliens thought humans were too emotional, too reckless. They took unnecessary risks. Tae-young stood up and stretched. "Mora, keep us on course. I'm going to check the cargo." He never made it to the cargo bay. The entire ship shook violently. Alarms screamed throughout the corridors. Red warning lights flashed everywhere. The main screen showed 3 large ships appearing from nowhere, surrounding the Bright Star. "Pirates!" Velkrath shouted. "Rakthian raiders!" Tae-young jumped back into his chair. "Evasive maneuvers. Mora, get us out of here!" But it was too late. A beam of blue energy shot from one of the pirate ships and hit the Bright Star directly. Every system on the ship died instantly. The lights went out. The engines stopped. Even the backup power failed. They were floating dead in space. Emergency lights flickered on, casting everything in a dim red glow. Through the main screen, Tae-young could see the pirate ships moving closer. They were ugly vessels covered in weapons and armor plates. The Rakthians were known throughout the galaxy as brutal raiders. They attacked merchant ships, killed anyone who resisted, and sold the survivors as slaves. "All crew to defensive positions," Tae-young ordered. "Arm yourselves. They'll be boarding us any minute." Ji-woo was already moving. She ran to the weapons locker and started handing out guns to anyone who could fight. Her military training took over. She positioned crew members at key corridors and doorways, but she knew it was hopeless. The Bright Star was a merchant vessel, not a warship. They had maybe 10 weapons among 15 crew members. The pirates would have dozens of heavily armed soldiers. Hana reached the bridge, breathing hard from running. "Captain, the EMP fried everything. I can't restart the engines without at least an hour of repairs, maybe more." "We don't have an hour," Tae-young said quietly. A loud bang echoed through the ship. Then another. The pirates were cutting through the hull. They would be inside within minutes. Ji-woo pulled out a small device from her pocket. It was an emergency beacon, an old military model from her days in Earth's Defense Force. Her fingers flew over the controls, setting it to broadcast on all frequencies, especially military channels. "What are you doing?" Velkrath demanded. "No one patrols this sector. No one will come." "Maybe," Ji-woo said, pressing the activation button. "But I have to try." The beacon started transmitting. A simple message repeated over and over. "This is merchant vessel Bright Star, under attack by Rakthian pirates. Crew of 15, request immediate assistance." The message included their exact location and a plea for help, but even as she activated it, Ji-woo knew the truth. The nearest military base was days away. By the time anyone received the message and responded, they would all be dead or worse. The sound of cutting metal grew louder. Smoke began filling the corridors. Then, with a final screech, a section of hull fell inward. Rakthian pirates poured through the opening. They were massive creatures, nearly 7 feet tall, with thick gray skin and 4 arms. Each arm held a weapon. Their faces were flat with small black eyes and mouths full of sharp teeth. They wore heavy armor and moved with the confidence of predators who had done this many times before. The crew of the Bright Star fought back. They fired their weapons down the corridors. A few pirates fell, but more kept coming. For every one they shot, 3 more appeared. The battle lasted less than 10 minutes. A pirate grabbed one of the human crew members, a young man named Teho who worked in the galley. When Teho fought back, the pirate simply snapped his neck and threw the body aside. The message was clear. Resistance meant death. Cease fire, Tae-young shouted. Everyone stand down. Stop fighting! Ji-woo wanted to argue, wanted to keep fighting, but she knew he was right. They were outnumbered and outgunned. Continuing the battle would just get more people killed. Slowly, reluctantly, the crew lowered their weapons. The Rakthian commander stepped through the breach in the hull. He was even larger than the others, his armor decorated with symbols that probably represented his kills. When he spoke, his voice was deep and cruel. Smart decision, human. You live a little longer now. Maybe. He looked around at the crew with amusement. Take them to the cargo bay. Chain them up. We leave for the slave markets immediately. The pirates herded everyone toward the cargo bay at gunpoint. They used heavy chains to bind the crew's hands and feet. The cargo bay was cold and dark. There was no furniture, no comfort, nothing but hard metal floor. As they sat in the darkness, Velcrath turned to Tae-young. This is what human optimism gets you. Dead crew in slavery for the rest of us. That beacon you sent? No one is coming. No one cares about one small merchant ship in neutral space. We are on our own. Tae-young said nothing. What could he say? Velcrath was right. No rescue was coming. They were 4 days from the slave markets. 4 days before their lives would end and something much worse would begin. In the corner, Ji-woo sat with her head down. The beacon was still transmitting somewhere in the destroyed bridge. But with every passing minute, hope faded a little more. The Verdun sector was empty. No military ships. No patrol vessels. Nothing but pirates and traders in the cold, empty darkness of space. No rescue was coming. They were truly alone. The first day in the cargo bay was the worst. The Rakthian pirates gave them no food and only a small amount of water. The chains were heavy and cut into their wrists. The temperature dropped as the ship's heating system failed in their section. Everyone huddled together for warmth. Tae-young tried to keep everyone's spirits up. He moved from person to person, checking on them, making sure no one was seriously hurt. But it was hard to stay positive when one of their crew lay dead in the corridor outside, left there as a reminder of what happened to those who resisted. How long until we reach the markets? Asked Daejin, one of the alien crew members. He was a small furry creature with large ears and a long tail. 3 more days, Mora answered quietly. If they maintained current speed, 3 more days. Then they would be sold like animals, separated, sent to different planets to work until they died. Many species kept slaves. It was illegal in most civilized systems, but laws meant nothing in the outer regions. Out here might made right. Ji-woo sat in the corner, her mind working through possibilities. She had military training. She knew how to fight, how to plan tactical operations. But what could they do? They had no weapons. The pirates had taken everything. Even if they somehow got free from the chains, they were outnumbered 3 to 1. And the pirates were bigger and stronger than any of them. Still, she had to try something. Sitting and waiting for slavery was not acceptable. That was not what humans did. Humans fought. Even when the odds were impossible, they fought. She caught Tae-young's eye and nodded toward the far corner. He understood. Slowly, carefully, they moved away from the others where they could talk quietly. I have an idea, Ji-woo whispered. It's dangerous. Probably stupid. But it's something. I'm listening, Tae-young said, the ventilation system. See that grate up there? She pointed to a metal grate in the ceiling about 8 feet above them. If we can reach it, we can crawl through the ducts. They lead all over the ship. We might be able to reach the bridge or the armory or even the escape pods. Tae-young looked up at the grate. Then he looked at the chains on their wrists. Then at the 2 pirate guards standing by the door. How do we get up there? How do we break these chains? How do we get past the guards? I don't know yet. But we have to try. What's the alternative? Just give up? Before Tae-young could answer, Velcrath hissed at them from nearby. I can hear you, you know. Your plan is suicide. The pirates will kill you before you get 5 meters. Then they will kill the rest of us for your stupidity. So what do you suggest? Ji-woo asked, anger rising in her voice. We just accept this? You're okay with being a slave? I am okay with being alive, Velcrath shot back. You humans never think. You just act. All emotion, no logic. This is why your species is considered dangerous and unstable. Our species doesn't give up, Ji-woo said coldly. Your species is reckless, Velcrath replied. There is a difference between bravery and foolishness. What you are planning is foolishness. Hana had been listening to the conversation. Now she spoke up. I think I can help. With the chains, I mean. I'm an engineer. If you can find me something metal and thin, I might be able to pick the locks. They're old models. Not very sophisticated, see? Jiwoo said to Velkrath. We have a chance. A tiny chance. A microscopic chance. And when you fail, we all die. But Velkrath's voice had lost some of its certainty. Maybe he was starting to hope too. Just a little. The rest of the day passed slowly. The pirates came twice to bring water. Both times Jiwoo studied their movements, their weapons, their routines. She was looking for weaknesses, for patterns, for anything they could exploit. That night, or what passed for night in space, most of the crew tried to sleep. It was difficult with the cold and the chains and the fear, but exhaustion eventually won. Even the pirate guards seemed to relax a little, leaning against the walls with their weapons lowered. Hana had managed to pull a thin piece of wire from the hem of her uniform. It was not much, but it might work. She crawled over to Jiwoo and started working on her chains. The lock was simple, just 3 pins that needed to be aligned, but doing it in the dark, with cold fingers and guards nearby, made it incredibly difficult. After 20 minutes that felt like hours, there was a quiet click. Jiwoo's chains fell open. She kept them in place, pretending they were still locked, but now she could move freely if needed. Taeyoung was next. Then Hana freed herself. 3 people out of 14 were now unchained. It was a start. But before they could do anything more, one of the guards turned on a bright light and walked toward them. You, human female, come with me. Commander wants to talk to you. They were pointing at Hana. 2 pirates grabbed her and dragged her toward the door. She struggled, but they were too strong. The door slammed shut behind them. Everyone sat in shocked silence. What did the pirates want with her? Nothing good, that was certain. Taeyoung started to stand, but Jiwoo grabbed his arm. Not yet, she whispered. We can't help her if we're dead. We wait for her to come back. Then we move. And if she doesn't come back? Jiwoo's jaw tightened. Then we make them pay for it. An hour passed. Then 2 hours. The crew sat in tense silence, waiting, hoping. Some prayed to their various gods. Others just stared at the door. Finally, the door opened again. The pirates threw Hana back inside. She collapsed on the floor, crying. There were bruises on her face and arms. Her uniform was torn, but she was alive. Taeyoung rushed to her side. Hana, are you okay? What did they do? She shook her head, unable to speak for several minutes. When she finally found her voice, it was barely a whisper. They wanted to know about Earth, about human military strength, about defenses. I told them I was just an engineer. I didn't know anything about military matters. Did they believe you? I don't think so. They said if I don't give them useful information by tomorrow, they'll start hurting the others. Velkrath made a disgusted sound. This is what happens when you send distress signals on military frequencies. Now they think we have military connections. They think we know secrets. You humans have made this worse for all of us. Jiwoo turned on him, fury in her eyes. That beacon is the only chance we have. If someone receives it, no one will receive it, Velkrath shouted. We are days from any military presence. That beacon is just making the pirates more paranoid and violent. It has accomplished nothing except getting Hana hurt. Stop it, both of you, Taeyoung said quietly. But there was steel in his voice. Fighting among ourselves helps no one. We need to work together. But the damage was done. The alien crew members were now openly hostile to the humans. They muttered among themselves in their various languages. The unity that had existed on the bright star was breaking apart. As the second day ended, Jiwoo lay awake in the darkness. 3 people had freed chains. That was their only advantage. Against dozens of armed pirates, it meant almost nothing. Velkrath was probably right. Her beacon had accomplished nothing except making things worse. Far above them, on the pirate ship's bridge, the Rakthian commander stared at his sensor screens with growing concern. His second-in-command had just reported something unusual. Commander, there is a ship following us. It appeared on long-range sensors about an hour ago. Distance, 2 light hours and closing. What type of ship? Unknown. The signature does not match any known civilian or military vessel in our database. But it is big. Destroyer class, maybe larger. And it is moving fast. Very fast, the commander growled, showing his teeth. Change course. Head toward the Rakthian base. If this unknown ship follows us there, we will have support. Yes, Commander. The pirate ship changed direction and increased speed. Behind them, 2 light hours away and closing, something dark and powerful moved through the void of space. Something that had received a desperate message from a small beacon. Something that was coming to help, no matter what the cost. In the cargo bay, none of the prisoners knew that anything had changed. They sat in the cold darkness, prisoners waiting for slavery, convinced that no rescue would ever come. They were wrong. Captain Sung Min reached the bridge in less than a minute. His face showed no fear, only calm focus. He studied the sensor readings carefully. 5 Rakthian heavy cruisers, each one larger than the Relentless. They were moving fast and their weapons were charged for combat. Time to intercept? He asked. 18 minutes, reported Hyun, the young sensor officer. His hands shook slightly as he worked the controls. This was his first real combat situation. Options? Sungmin asked his tactical officer. Lieutenant Jae Sung, a woman with 20 years of combat experience, pulled up the tactical display. Not good, sir. We're outgunned 5-1. Our ship is faster and more maneuverable, but they have superior firepower. If they surround us, we won't last long. Recommendation: we evacuate the rescued crew to the Bright Star and run. Our ship can outpace them. And leave the civilians alone in disabled ship? Sungmin shook his head. Not acceptable. Sir, we can't fight 5 cruisers and protect a disabled merchant vessel at the same time. It's tactically impossible. Sungmin looked at the screen showing the approaching enemy fleet. He thought about the 15 people in his medical bay who had already suffered so much. He thought about the promise humanity had made after the war. Never again would they abandon their people. Send a message to the Bright Star. Tell them to move to a safe distance, at least 1 light minute away. Then sound battle stations, all crew to combat positions. Throughout the ship, alarms began to sound. The rescued crew members in the medical bay looked up in confusion as human sailors ran past them, heading to their stations. The relaxed atmosphere changed instantly to focused intensity. Commander Dae-ho entered the medical bay. I need all rescued personnel to move to the secured shelter on Deck 3. We have incoming hostile vessels. Please follow my Marines. They will keep you safe. What's happening? Tae-young asked, standing up. More pirates. A Rakthian battle group. 5 heavy cruisers. They're not happy that we took their prize. They want revenge. Dae-ho spoke matter-of-factly like he was discussing the weather. Velkrath's eyes went wide. 5 cruisers? Against 1 destroyer? You must run. You cannot fight those odds. We don't run, Dae-ho said simply. Not when civilians are at risk. Ji-woo stood up, her military training asserting itself. Commander, I can help. I'm trained in tactical operations and weapons systems. Let me assist your crew. Dae-ho studied her for a moment, then nodded. Report to damage control on Deck 2. They can use someone with your experience. Hana stepped forward as well. I'm an engineer. If your ship gets damaged, I can help with repairs. Engineering section, Deck 4. Ask for Chief Dong-hyun. He'll put you to work. Within minutes, the rescued crew was secured in the shelter, a reinforced section deep in the ship's core, all except Ji-woo and Hana, who had volunteered to help. Velkrath had wanted to help too, but there was nothing a reptilian merchant could do on a human warship in combat. He sat with the others, feeling useless and terrified. On the bridge, Captain Sung Min opened a communication channel. Rakthian vessels, this is Captain Sung Min of the Hume's Relentless. You are approaching a military vessel engaged in lawful rescue operations. Change your course or you will be considered hostile. The response came quickly, full of anger and threats. Human ship, you have attacked our vessels and stolen our property. You will surrender immediately and turn over all prisoners. You have 1 minute to comply. Sung Min's expression did not change. The people you call property are free citizens. They are not slaves. They are not cargo. And we will not surrender them to you or anyone else. You have 1 minute to withdraw. After that, we will consider you hostile and respond accordingly. The Rakthian commander laughed over the communication channel. 1 small destroyer against 5 battle cruisers? You are either very brave or very stupid. We will take your ship and add your crew to our slave stock. It will be amusing to see humans in chains. Sung Min closed the communication channel. He looked at his crew, meeting each person's eyes. I know the odds are bad. I know some of you are scared. That's okay. Fear is natural, but remember why we're here. Behind us are 15 people who were going to be sold as slaves. They were going to have their lives destroyed. We stopped that. Now these pirates want revenge. They want to punish us for doing the right thing. So the question is simple. Do we run and leave those people vulnerable? Or do we fight? The bridge crew answered together, their voices strong and certain. We fight. Then let's show them what happens when you threaten human citizens. All weapons free. Engage when ready. The 5 Rakthian cruisers came in fast, spreading out to surround the Relentless. They were confident, maybe overconfident. They had superior numbers and firepower. What could one human ship do? They were about to find out. The Relentless did not wait to be surrounded. It accelerated directly toward the enemy fleet at maximum speed. The sudden aggressive move surprised the Rakthians. They expected the human ship to defend or retreat, not attack. All forward weapons target the lead cruiser. Fire, Sungmin ordered. The Relentless fired every weapon it had pointed forward. Railguns shot solid metal projectiles at incredible speeds. Missiles streaked through space, their engines burning bright. Energy weapons carved lines of light through the darkness. The barrage hit the lead Rakthian cruiser like a hammer. The cruiser's shields flashed and died under the assault. Armor plating melted. Explosions ripped through its hull. Within seconds, the lead ship was crippled and falling behind, no longer a threat. But the other 4 cruisers were still coming. They opened fire, sending a storm of weapons toward the Relentless. The human ship twisted and turned, its smaller size allowing it to dodge many of the incoming shots. Its point defense systems, controlled by advanced computers, shot down most of the missiles before they could hit. But some weapons got through. The ship shook as explosions walked across its hull. Damage reports started coming in. In damage control, Jiwoo coordinated repair teams. Hull breach on deck 5. Get a team there now. Reroute power from non-essential systems to shields. In engineering, Hana worked alongside the human crew, her hands moving quickly to repair damaged systems. Coolant leak in reactor 3. I'm on it. She crawled into a tight space, her small size an advantage, and patched the leak before it could become critical. On the bridge, Sung-min watched the tactical display. 2 cruisers were moving to flank them while the other 2 came straight on. Classic pincer movement. If they succeeded in surrounding the Relentless, it would be over quickly. Helm, come about. Full speed toward those 2 flanking vessels. Tactical, prepare missile spread pattern Delta. Sir, we're heading right at them. The helmsman protested. I know. Do it. The Relentless changed course sharply, accelerating toward the 2 cruisers trying to flank it. The Rakthian commanders, seeing the human ship charging them, opened fire with everything they had. It looked like suicide. At the last possible moment, the Relentless fired its entire missile arsenal, over 100 missiles launched in 3 seconds. Then it turned hard, using its superior maneuverability to slip between the 2 cruisers. The missiles, guided by sophisticated AI, split into 2 groups and slammed into the cruisers from multiple angles. The Rakthians tried to shoot them down, but there were too many coming too fast. Both cruisers took heavy damage. One lost its engines and began drifting. The other's weapon systems went offline, 3 down, 2 to go, but the Relentless had taken damage too. One engine was running at half power. Shields were at 30%. Multiple hull breaches were sealed, but the ship was hurt. The remaining 2 Rakthian cruisers came at the Relentless from different angles, trying to catch it in a crossfire. Sungmin knew his ship could not take much more damage. He needed to end this fast. How much power do we have in the main railgun? He asked. 70%, sir, Jae-sung reported. But if we fire at full power, we might overload the system. Divert all available power to the railgun. Engineering Reactor 4, push it to maximum output. Down in engineering, Chief Dong-hyun heard the order and looked at Hana. That reactor is already running hot. If we push it harder, it might explode. But will it give us enough power first? Hana asked, maybe for about 30 seconds before it overheats. Then let's do it. These people risked everything to save us. We risk a little to help them. Dong-hyun nodded and started making the adjustments. The reactor began to glow brighter, temperature rising into the dangerous zone. On the bridge, power readings climbed. Main railgun at 120% capacity, sir. This is going to hurt something, either them or us. Target the nearest cruiser. Center mass. Fire when locked. The railgun fired. It was designed to shoot solid metal slugs at a significant fraction of light speed. At 120% power, the slug was moving even faster. The weapon had so much energy that space itself seemed to bend around the projectile. The slug hit the Rakthian cruiser and simply punched through it. Through the armor, through the internal bulkheads, through the reactor, and out the other side. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the cruiser exploded, torn apart from the inside as its reactor went critical. 4 down, 1 to go, but the railgun had paid a price. Warning lights flashed across the tactical station. Railgun offline. Overheated and fused. We won't be able to fire it again without major repairs.